And we are live, guys. Happy Monday, happy Monday. And welcome to Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform, where we're here every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, where parents, surrogate parents, presumed parents, or any other parent outlined in your state can come and tell their maniacal story. And today I have a very special guest, and I will introduce her in just a few moments. But as always, I would like to take a moment of silence for our brothers and sisters who are not here, those who keep coming back, and those that are sick and suffering. So, again, good evening. I'm your host, Miss K, on Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform. So, today we have the birthday girl here, and this is Miss Dorothy. She wants to be known as Miss D. And I'm going to let her tell her story in just a few moments. But I'd like to touch on some things that kind of moved in a positive manner with my case and getting some type of access with the kids. So I managed to get collateral therapeutic sessions via Zoom twice a week for 15 minutes with each child. And that's a start. So although my children don't want to have anything to do with me allegedly, because I haven't spoken to them again until since April 23rd of last year, and I have not had any communication since then. The children's attorney and the guardian ad litem for the children also state that the children want to have nothing to do with me. They're upset with me and they don't want visits at this time. But we came up with a better solution to where I can write letters to them for every collateral visit. So if they don't want to show up via Zoom, the letter should suffice to, complete the visit. And with whatever access I have as of right now, I am grateful for because it's been over 365 days. So, I just want to also touch on, mental, emotional, psychological, and physical energy dynamics and the drama altogether. Now, myself, based on me being outlined with bipolar, sometimes I have highs and lows, and it takes a lot of different people to deal with me. It takes a very different type of person to be able to tolerate the highs and lows. And that's not to say that I'm unsafe or I'm unfit or unmanageable. No, it just means based on the symptoms and signs of my mental illness that oftentimes I, get a little hyper. And that does not say I put my children in unsafe situations. No, that just means I'm a little more busy than the average person. Now, as far as when I'm down in the lows, that does not negate the fact that I still have to cook. I still have to provide, the nurturing. I still have to provide, education, whatever they may need to be productive, to be safe, and to be loved. Remember, guys, I say it every show innocence is worth it. So don't ever give up the fight. So now I want to introduce the birthday girl. It's Miss Dorothy's birthday, guys. So give her a round of applause. And she is a CPS warrior. She has been through the fight herself and had, some issues with CPS. And today I'm going to give her the opportunity to tell her story, her way, from her side. So without further ado, parent warrior, Miss D.
Well, with my
And
story,
I'm sorry, Miss D, where you from? Where you from?
oh, North Carolina,
Okay.
Rocky Mount, North
It's,
Carolina.
all right. Go ahead, continue, hon.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
no problem, no problem. Um, with my story, a lot of things. Well, mostly what I came about is that people don't realize the things that these people put other parents through, or put the parents through as well as the child, by doing some of the things that they do that's not right to do. And then you have laws and you have things in place. I never realized that they had a like child abuse registry, a child neglect registry, where they put your name on it once you're accused of being, neglected. Not if you found guilty or innocent, anything. Your name is on that list, on that registry. So
Have
people
you been
don't
put on that
realize
registry? I'm sorry, Miss
that.
Dorothy. Have you been put on that registry, or is your name there?
I look for it, and they have it so complicated that you yourself can't actually go and see
Find
what
it.
name is on it. It's not like you can go and look, but I guess if other people that has that information or whatever need to look at it or whatever, they have access to it, and that shouldn't be. But I mean,
And
it shouldn't be something that somebody can accuse you of something, and especially now since they got this, where the person that's making the allegations, they are
right,
free from prosecution.
right,
That's incorrect. Also, if you're going to come forward and say something, somebody's doing something or whatever, you need to be stern enough to be able to say that I'm willing to say this is fact.
right. Take ownership and
You
speak
shouldn't be
out
able
on
to.
your statement. Right.
Right. You shouldn't be able to put somebody else's life or their family at jeopardy because sometimes people are being revengeful,
Or
trying to
malicious.
retaliate.
Yeah.
Right. They're doing things that they know that by them doing it, they are not going to be held accountable for it anyhow because the law is saying that they are, they got immunity from prosecution. So we
Right.
can go do this and get away with doing it. And that's wrong.
Well,
And
in this country, it's guilty until proven innocent instead of the other way around. So, you don't you barely get a chance when you start off, and then they try to take everything from you before you even get a chance to plead your case based on something someone said. So, I could definitely identify and empathize with you. So again, I'm sorry. Continue.
no problem. And even
Eh,
with my case, with they had it so that they added other people's medical records with children name on it and put my child's name and added it in on the record, as saying that it was her record. They had it that I was in some type of domestic violence relationship and that
That's what I'm dealing
I
with.
was allowing my daughter to, go prostitute herself or whatever for
Oh my God.
when she was 15, or one of my daughters was 15 and she was doing certain things that she didn't, letting some man sleep with her to get gifts and all this. All this stuff is true. I didn't even have a 15-year-old daughter. So my thing is they allowed to create records,
Yeah.
and then when they create a record, whoever it is that's supposed to be saying that, I mean, the know to do right and not to do right is
Right.
still a sin. And if you sitting in a position where you saying that I'm gonna have the authority position as a social worker, director, whoever it is, case manager, whoever the system judge, whatever it is, they should be held accountable if they know and they can see that this right here is what's taking place. I mean, and they should also have it so that these like court cases and whatever can be recorded. It
Right. But
needs
you
to
know
be
what, Miss Dorothy,
recorded.
you know what they do? These social workers, forget to put certain things, in the discovery or fail to submit evidence. And, if they can, somehow rectify they're not doing it out of malice or, a deceitful behavior, they get covered under qualified immunity. So, they're not held liable for the lies or the negligence, but yet we are fighting for the one thing in our lives that keep us motivated and structured to be, sane in this insanity. This world, like this world is insane.
That's right. And some people don't realize what it is when someone take your child from you. I mean, it's a difference when you go and you feel that you have a need to give up your child, and there are children that have needs. But if you are a parent that hasn't done the things that they're accusing you of, and for them to come and remove the custody of your child, I mean, that causes mental anguish there. That causes trauma. That causes
Psychological
issues that's
warfare.
in your
Yep.
life that you're gonna have to deal with that you didn't have before they did what they did. And then once they do what they do, they add that in as she got
Something
a problem.
extra.
Of course, you
Yep.
just gave me a problem.
It,
It
but what
shouldn't
I
be
don't
so
understand
easy.
is, Miss D, if they are taking the one thing from you, and mind you, most of the time they take these children with no warrant. They have no exigent circumstance. There's no imminent risk, and most of the time they take these children either from school or places where they're not even with the parent at the time. So, what I'm trying to understand is, according to Mr. Davis, it has to be a substantial amount of danger. So, if they're taking your child from school, you're not even there. So, where is the exigent circumstance? Where is the imminent risk? And where's the substantial danger? Because things change day by day. So, like with Betty Joe's situation, BJ, with Betty Joe's situation. she had her niece. I helped her, get custody of her niece. And they basically lied about her ICPC and took the baby from her. So I can understand, again, I can identify with people just saying things and, defaming your character, corrupting your children's perception of you, and making you look like either a drug addict, a psychopath, or an unstable, person that puts their children in danger, because that's the type of that's the type of slander that I've been facing. They talk about me like a dog, and I speak to them not all the time with respect. I'll say that. But that's after, I have worked up the point of being cordial. I have provided all the facts. I have given all the proof. I have, provided all the documentation. I have completed all services. And yet they still have not provided anything for reunification, severed the communication, and then are okay with this, parental alienation and this custodial interference. So it's like, it's a lose lose, because if you are suffering with anything extra on the back end that is a challenge for you to maintain daily, whether your kids are there, when your kids are there, can you imagine if that situation alone, your children give you structure? So, like me, I'll keep it on the eye. Me in my case, the fact that I have a substance abuse history, the fact that I have a mental health history, those things play a big part on trying to maintain sanity, sobriety, and safe parenting for our innocence. So, it's kind of like a lose lose, because you're like, again, you're found guilty before proven innocent.
And they try to use that mental health piece. I had an assessment done prior to them taking my daughter, but the assessment was because of something that took place with one of my other daughters where they lost her. They let her leave school and she walked away from school, and that scared the living heck out of me because they couldn't find her because we was
So
new
they
to
put
the
both
area.
cases together. They put the cases
Right.
together.
And then when we did what we did, they told me that if I give them back a copy of the evaluation that I had done, that they would get my child back. But they didn't. I gave them everything. The lady almost ran upstairs from where the meeting was had to get the paper for me to sign, and then told me that I could not, disclose any of what I did to anybody else. And then the
Oh,
lady that actually was the director of social services was also the school board member that helped enroll my child in school at her school district. So she had conflict of interest. So she
so
was
you
using.
didn't get to play any part in selecting her educational institution. Like, somebody else chose her school.
No, what we did is what she told me is that we when they set up the meeting through her Escon County DSS, we set it up, had the meeting, everything. We enrolled my daughter in school on
Okay.
the 14th, like of December. Now, but
Okay.
I didn't realize that on the 16th of December they had another meeting because they enrolled my daughter into homeschool and was supposed to start around January the
Oh.
9th. But then 2 days later, they had another meeting that they'd invite me and my daughter to and put her in regular school,
So they
traditional
basically
school.
got you on educational neglect,
Right. And then decided they want to count it as her being
absence,
absent
and
from
negligence.
school.
Yep.
Right. But better yet, still, I had the documentation, I had paperwork, and the meeting was recorded. It was audio
See,
recorded and
that
it was
saves
video
you.
recorded.
Can
So
you
they
record in your
started
state? Do you have to tell people in your state that you have to that you record? Do you have to tell the social workers you have to record them?
and I did. They recorded as well.
So you're
They
allowed to do that.
recorded
No, I'm just
me as
saying, in your
well.
state, in North Carolina, you're allowed to have secret recordings.
I don't know. Evidently not so. You have to tell them that you recorded because
Oh,
I mean
okay.
it wasn't nothing to hide.
Oh,
And I
okay.
mean,
Okay.
I always say that I am recording, but I mean, in that same sense, it just didn't make any sense. Is how did you gonna go and then once I filed a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights, alleging they violated
Yeah,
the
they
rights
want to
of her
switch
to
to you.
receive an education, per their enrollment into their school system. Then all of a sudden, that's when she's going to step up, and her being the director, they decide we're going to remove custody. But then it's coming back and started out that they had one of the social workers that came out to the house and she was being rude and disrespectful. And I tell nobody no lie. On that particular day, she said some things to me and I said a few things back to her. So, and she
Well,
told me to go
hey.
tell on her. She told me to go tell on her. And I did. I told social media. I posted what she said and how it was said and what I said. I didn't do just her because that would be wrong.
And you said the
Both of
social
us.
worker?
Yes, and the
Yeah,
social worker got mad, and they had a
it's
meeting and documented that they decided to remove the custody of my child
based on
because
you
she got
having
mad.
back and forth
Right.
with this.
And
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what she had done until they gave me a portion of the discovery, and I was reading through it. And you finding that funny? They had the nerve to say that I was incompetent, that but using a case from back 2011 where I was found not guilty of truancy, and I didn't realize the director of student services was the one that governs the social workers. But this person went to
Oh.
social services and had them come out and try to, investigate me, my family, or whatever. And then they unsubstantiated it though. The school
So
system
then
got
that's
mad
good.
and said that the judge found me not guilty, but he found me not guilty based upon the fact that he said I was incompetent and didn't have the ability to homeschool my children or to be a parent, which
So
was a lie.
did you get an evaluation? Did you get evaluation? Did you show
No,
them
the
that
judge never
you're
asked
not?
me any of that.
So
He never, he just
it
found
wasn't on
me.
your case plan.
No, it was just
So
he found me not guilty. The judge found me not guilty. I didn't have a case plan then. But when the social worker came out,
you didn't turn around, like you didn't sue. You didn't go back to sue for defamation or nothing like that. Or
at that time is when I had filed the hearing for my daughter with the Office of
okay,
Administrative Hearings for
okay,
special education contested court case. And
okay,
that's when the EC director, they didn't give my daughter's records, on February 18, 2017. That's when I got assaulted by the EC
okay.
director during that resolution meeting for that court case hearing. Office of
Wait, you
Administrative
said you got
Hearings.
assaulted?
Yes, this lady held me in the room and wouldn't let me out. I ended up having a seizure, and that is recorded. And these
Oh,
people didn't even call the ambulance. And then they told me that they wouldn't file charges against the EC director because she was a government official. And they didn't. I ended up going to the police department, the sheriff's department, or the magistrate office first. That lady told me that she was not going to allow me to file charges against her, that it wasn't her responsibility. I had to go through the sheriff's department. I went to the sheriff's
oh.
department. The people at the sheriff's department told me, the man that was there, one of them said that he knew the lady that assaulted me. He knew her personally, and he didn't believe she did it, and asked me to walk with him back across the street to where it happened. And I did. And some lady came downstairs because they said that the person wasn't there. So the lady came downstairs. She came to where we were, and she said that she was in the meeting, and she would document. She would state that person didn't do that. But then
So she
another
still
person
didn't
that
take
got
your
involved.
complaint. Nobody took your complaint.
No, the police department finally did file a police report after one of the other people got involved and said this didn't make any sense because you got a recording here that shows it.
Right.
What's taking place. So when the police department finally did take the police report for assault by me, by the EC director, that what ended up happening is they never investigated it.
So they just pushed it to the wayside. So your report just went in the trash.
It lay dormant, and they got rid of the worker, the police officer that actually took the report. She was no longer there. And then they finally, years after that, told me they were sorry. I kept calling, never gave up. They told me they were sorry or whatever, that they dropped the ball because it never left the police department and went to the DA's office. So they didn't do their job. But
And you see,
they
that's
just told
something
me,
that, not to cut you off, but that's something that, I used to think, based on melanin, the black, brown, and beige communities, the less fortunate, the indigent communities, the indigenous communities, the minority communities. But it has something to do with color, but not the color I thought. It has to do with green.
you're right.
So so everything is about a dollar. And the fact that they can traffic our children, they traffic our innocence like they're cattle.
You're right.
Every child is worth a certain amount of money, and in order for that funding to be eligible for that state, that county, or that province, they have to keep the child there. So they fail to put these children with family or relatives. They fail to put these children in, familiar places or familiar homes to where, everything is not a dynamic shift, because that causes trauma too. But in the same breath, you're telling us, based on this agency not providing resources and supports for families that are in either crisis or need, resources or supports for wellness and productivity. That is in their mission statement. And when I said that to one of, the commissioner's workers, the one of the people that work in the commissioner's office for New York City,
Mm-hmm.
She told me that policy is outdated, sis. So because it's outdated, they don't have to adhere to it, and they could just basically do what they want to do. And if that is the office that you go to file complaints for social workers being negligent or malicious, then how is anything being rectified when these people just do the same thing they did to you? They brush it under the rug.
That's right. And then the attorney for the school system sent me a letter after I got assaulted, after I filed a complaint with the school board, and stated that I could no longer communicate with any of the school system employees,
That
nor
sounds
come
like
onto the
me.
school system property.
That
So
sounds like
for
me.
years, my daughter didn't get to go to school. And then when I went to social services to get them involved, they told me that they cannot investigate the school. If I was doing
Right, because
something
they have
wrong,
no
what the school
jurisdiction.
system did was doing that they would, take me to jail. But
Right,
then
because
they
it's
had
not their
nothing.
jurisdiction.
Right.
CPS, DCFS, ACS, they have no jurisdiction to, involve themselves in educational decisions, but they can sway the decisions of either chancellors, superintendents, and education faculty. So, I also had that same experience where they picked my child's school without me even knowing, and doesn't even accommodate all her special services. But they told me I can't come into school. But they were offering me a job. Myself and my husband, we went there for orientation where my daughter wasn't present, and met all the people, and we must have made some type of impression because they nominated us for a job. Until I disclosed that I had a court proceeding, gave them the paperwork, and then the next day I was told the foster care agency told us, based on the dynamics of the tension in the conversation or communication, that they are rescinding my invitation into the school and I can no longer come inside the building.
And see, and that violated my daughter's right, and my children's right to
It
enroll in
violated your
school.
educational rights too, Ms. D.
And
Like,
and it's just
you're
crazy.
entitled to that. You're
But
entitled to
then,
make educational decisions for progress, special services, anything that will aid with transitioning either from primary school to secondary school, or for behavior or outbursts, or just whatever the child's emotional, or whatever the child's diagnosis is outlined as, such as emotional, disturbance, intellectual delay, cognitive impairment, or just overall, learning delay. So you provide these
and
services, and if the parent
that's
does
their
not have
right
no
to
input, yeah,
enroll in school, period.
exactly, exactly. Because if a child is,
Right. I can't go to school, and if I
struggling,
communicate with school system employees, they're not going to communicate with me.
exactly. So how are they knowing
But
that
it's for
these
the
children are
school.
getting everything they need if they're not talking to the parents, the ones that know them? So I'm like a little confused on how either a foster parent or a group home can tell either a school or a medical facility what is going on with the child when you only have one sheet of demographic, no history, no nothing. But like in my sense, they told me my children don't have allergies, and my children have had allergies all their life. I literally used to be a paramedic for the fire department, so I can pull up all those things and show them that I have access to the New York Health and Hospitals, charting system. But yet I made that up because I lose touch with reality. But yet I'm the legal authorized consent giver for my children, but I'm impaired. So they say. That don't even make sense. How can I make decisions in the best interest of my child, but I am unfit? Allegedly.
And then when it came time to go to court, and I'm not speaking negative towards any lawyer or attorney or social worker or any of that, because none, all of them are not the same. Not all of them
No,
are
they're
bad.
not. Some of you
No,
got some good ones. You got some good
but
ones.
in that same sense, for them to say the social worker said the judge found me incompetent and all this, that, some, the other. One of the other judge, she gave me the attorney that was the attorney for the social workers for the Department of
Yeah.
Social Services is my attorney.
So they
And then
work
I was like,
together.
how's she gonna be my attorney and their attorney too?
Right.
And then
But
she
that's a conflict of interest,
decided, well,
and
Miss Cook,
that's
you can be
that's
your own
not in the
attorney.
best interest of justice at all. Like, that's unfair to you
And
because
see, and
that's
that's my
one,
thing.
that's inadequate representation, because if they're working on both sides of the, how is that even possible?
That's right. And then she
That's not
decided
even
that
legal.
she made an error and then put me as my own attorney. And I didn't even ask her. She put me as my own attorney because nobody else would touch it. They wouldn't. Nobody
So
would
you had
step
to
up and say,
represent
"I would do
yourself?
this." Yes, she
You had to
signed me as
represent
my
yourself?
attorney. And she told me, the lady, the judge looked at me and she was like, and plus the attorney that I had when I first went to court, I didn't know I had a court, no attorney.
Appointed,
The
right?
lady
Court
that was
appointed lawyer.
there, she told me that I could not speak until my daughter's adjudication. So I stood in the courtroom and being quiet, and the judge told me the same thing. He was not going to have it. When they were saying certain things, I was trying to respond. She told me that, and her and the judge was like, I cannot speak until my daughter's adjudication case date.
So no representation spoke up on your behalf.
No, she stood there, let them do what they do, and I stood there too because I didn't know I supposed to been speaking at the time until my daughter's adjudication,
Did
like
you
they told
ask for
me.
another? Did you ask for another attorney? Like, did you request
Oh,
a
after
Marsden
I found
or?
out she was lying, I filed a complaint with the court and asked for her to be removed. And she asked for herself to be removed, asked for her to be removed because she was incompetent. She was the
So
one that,
basically, you
that
were
was,
getting inadequate counsel, right?
right. She was not doing her job. How you gonna, do something,
Advocate for me and
especially
don't
after
advocate
they,
for me. Yep.
right, after they had not fulfilled my daughter's visitation with me at one time because they put her directly into the custody of the state instead of giving me an
Uh,
opportunity to place
to
her
get less
with a family.
restrictive
Because
alternative.
one of my daughters was there when they
Right.
came, and we asked if she could go with her, and the lady told me no. I didn't
Did
even know
they
where they
even
put my
explore?
daughter.
Did they even explore your other child?
No, I never had any options for that. They never
So
told me
they
anything
never
about
gave you
that.
no less restrictive alternatives prior to the
Ma'am,
removal.
I never even had a plan where they would tell me they needed me to do this, that, some of the other. They never told me.
So you had no service plan and
No
no
service
no.
plan, none of that.
Did they give you at least a visit, like a parenting plan, like the visiting schedule?
Only through the court. I never had with the business, and the only reason I got that is because when I the judge set it up, they violated it, and then
Okay.
I wrote a motion to the court for them violating my parental rights to visit with my child, and that's when they removed her. We had a hearing, and that's when they removed her from the custody of living in the group home to being with her older sister.
Okay,
They
so
put her in
they did
family
put on a
with
sibling,
family.
right? Okay, so she had the sibling
Right,
king
and
gap.
that was only after that. And then with the
At least
OCR
that
case,
worked.
it did. When it went forward, these people at OCR, the lead attorney
Office
told
of
me,
special circumstances, yeah.
yeah, the Office of Civil Rights, special,
A
Office of
special
Civil Rights
commission off, yeah.
Education.
Office of special
Yeah,
commission, yeah.
right. That lady told me that I had to ask for permission from my daughter's guardian for them to move forward with the case. And I was like, well, ma'am, do you not realize that the person that's the guardian of my daughter now is actually the director of social services, but she's also on the school board that I filed this complaint against.
So there you go. Your conflict there, like Mr. Davis told me, you can't go hard for them and then expect them go to help you out or expect them they already don't want to follow what they're supposed to do. So
And that's what
now
I
when you check them or you put them, in their place, now they get upset because they don't expect to be smart.
That's right. But then you sit there and I'm saying, what? How you gonna do this? I got to ask her, but then I did it. And then I did it. I emailed her and I asked her for permission for me to have her investigated, her and her colleagues investigated as my
So
daughter's
you weren't
guardian.
able to take it to another county or another
No,
I
they
want to
had
say
three other
city.
counties investigated, Edgecombe County. And as a matter of fact, they removed custody and they never they
Oh.
found her safe with me.
So
Edgecombe
she's not. That's
County,
not her first report. Then that's not the first time.
Nash. It was the same thing with the first one was November of 2016. Nash County did a courtesy for Wilson County, and
Okay.
they found her safe with me. December, Escombe County did a courtesy for Wilson County and found her safe with me. But then January 2017, that same Escombe County removed custody of her. But
On what
all of
grounds?
them
What was the
found her safe.
allegation though? Well, you said it was educational, right? For she missed school.
No, no,
So
that
this
was
was another.
wasn't.
This was another situation.
No, it was the same situation. They just didn't put that on paperwork. They had on the paperwork what they said on the paperwork
Oh.
was something about I had a 15-year-old child that I was in a domestic violence relationship, and I chose to stay with the man or put my daughter in harm of being sexually abused. And then I had a 15-year-old daughter that I was allowing her to go and prostitute herself per se out to a man to get gifts and all this stuff. I never
But
had no
see, things
15-year-old
like
daughter.
that. When you say things like that about a child, there should have been some type of like meeting or some type of like a mandatory dispute resolution where these people have to take ownership for the things they do and degradation, as well as the things that they do when they put children in places to have to choose sides, because it's not fair to the child. It's not fair to innocence that they're put in places that already are unfamiliar, already traumatize them because they failed to put them with family. But then in the same breath, you bombard them with glamour and glitz and expect them to lie. And this is what children do. They get comfortable and they are brainwashed and they're treated like cargo. Like, if, as long as you can keep them at bay with whatever glittery, shiny thing that they want, they'll say anything you want.
And some of us parents will. Just like they will not. I ain't tell no lie. I didn't know when they told me they would give me back my daughter if I signed those papers. Where they at?
I know.
I signed
I
the
know.
papers, but they didn't give her back. But then
Of
when they got the
course.
results, it wasn't what they thought.
Exactly.
The
So it's a
people were
win-win for
saying,
you anyway. So you
right.
know what? They tried to put you down and look, you still rose above. Still rose above.
And still,
Because
I
when you
mean,
know better, you do better. Like
yes.
my instinct, you know better, you do better.
But see, my situation is that they should never be able to do a thing like that and get away with it. They should not be able to put anybody's child, not just mine, anybody's child, through a situation like that because they don't realize the trauma, the hurt, the pain.
Exactly.
And
The
I mean, the
pain, the
destruction, even
separation
in the family, there's things that goes on behind the scenes with
that people don't
siblings,
know about.
with
Exactly.
family members, with things that people actually look at you and will judge you as A, B, and C, but they don't see what's going on with D, E, F, and G all the way down to
Right.
Z because
Exactly.
it's things that people, when they go
Keep
through
secret. They keep
separation, they
secret, and trauma keeps recycling like a hamster's wheel of never ending dysfunction all the time. All
that's
the time.
right. And I
Because
mean,
as many secrets as we, and mostly, and I will say this, in the minority families, we tend to keep abuse, whether it be sexual, physical, emotional, or whether it is, perception of how family members may be, involved with the law, or may have been, involved with the streets, may have been, in their past life. People are cruel, and they use children as targets to use, to move us around like puppets. So as long as they have our innocence, parents will do it. We will do anything for our children. We will damn near sell our soul if it means to have our children back in our care. And these people make us jump through hoops as though most of them don't even have kids. And the children that they do have are either grown or abused themselves and they just haven't gotten caught yet. So that it is what it is.
and some
Like
don't
during
realize,
COVID, we found
right,
out about a lot of social workers with cases. Okay.
right,
COVID let it be known that they was busting behinds. Okay.
right, and a lot of them
So
don't realize that. Even as social workers, I had some people came to me, well, man, her house is nasty. This one, this, that, something.
right.
I don't want you to tell me about this social worker. We talking about my daughter.
Right. And see,
I
and
mean,
that's the
she got a
thing.
family.
People
She trying to take
travel,
care of
they
her
violate
family, but this is his family.
confidentiality, they
So I
cut.
mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
they
gonna
just
dog her for being in her situation
nurses, right.
because I'm not
Everybody lives
her.
differently. Everybody was brought up different. Everybody has different upbringing, different culture, different ethnicity. And honestly, behavior is learned and morals and values are taught. So if you monkey see, monkey do, you're only gonna lead by, you're gonna follow when you have those people leading by example.
You're right, but you also have to realize that when you're dealing with trauma, a lot of us haven't been taught how to resolve
The
trauma.
process exactly.
That's right.
Yep.
We weren't taught that. We was told in
To
my
keep
days
it
coming
quiet.
up, what
Whatever
that's
happened in your
what
house,
goes
stay at
on
your
in the house
house.
stays in the house. That's
That's
right.
right.
That's right. You don't go tell nobody else
Yep.
your business, and you learn to hold on to that. So not only are you dealing with what's taking place, people will look at you and judge you. I had when the lady looked at me and they wrote up there on that paper talking about somebody was putting somebody in sexual harm with a man and all this. I haven't had
And
a boyfriend
and
in
no
over 20 some years
words.
and don't want that one. And I was like, I sure would like to see you prove that one. Who
And the
is this so
wording they
bad?
use, it's like the wording they use makes you sound so bad. Like they do things in bold, like such as abuse, history, narcissism, disillusion, disassociation. Like they put those words in bold. So now when a case planner, or because most of them are not licensed, we gotta say that too. That's why they're case planners and not social workers. So, they might have a little 12 hours more than the case planner and a degree because they passed the board on the third try, whatever. But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is, you cannot tell somebody in their culture, in their ethnicity, in their upbringing, what a policy that is designed for a general community of diversity. Everybody's different, but you got one general template of how parenting is supposed to go. There is no manual to parenting. Every child is different. Every situation is different. And at the end of the day, there is no bad ways to parent. There are only unsafe ways. And that's it in a nutshell.
And even in that sense, if you have somebody that don't have the compassion, don't have understanding as to what it
Empathy,
is you
yeah.
want. People can be in the same place, go through the same thing, but reaction
End
is
up
different
saying different. Yep.
because they
Same
haven't been through what
resolution.
you've been through, so they won't give the reaction that you have or the reaction that you give because they haven't endured what you have endured.
It's the
So I think
process.
it's right.
Whatever else is on the back end might be just that one thing, and they may process it, in their own time or their own way. But if there are multiple things on the back end, it is only a matter of time before the teapot whistles and everything just blows up.
And it's true. And I mean, even in one of my meetings, the social workers were like, "We don't even know why we're here." What I mean, they didn't. That's what they said. They didn't know why. I don't know either. What's up? Because I don't know you. I even asked the lawyer one time that when they finally gave me a lawyer at the end of the case,
Right.
um, eh, he was like, "Well, Miss Cook," I asked him, "What can I do to get my daughter back?" He said, "Well, Miss Cook, I can tell you. They told me they're not going to give you custody of your daughter back." I like, "Well, how you can tell me that?" And it was like, "Well, that's what they told me."
So they told you weren't working on reunification and then just flipped it like all the way backflip style.
No, because they never told me what to do to get reunified. I never had no case plan
Right.
in
No
place.
safety plan. Yep.
Right. I never had nothing in place. That's why I was asking him, what is it do these people want me to do to get custody of my child back? Because they never told me.
They
It's
want
never
you to give up. They wanted you to give up and just quit and walk away. That way, that would have been easy money.
well, I mean, that's not good because I mean
That's what.
that's my child.
And
Regardless, that's
25-8. That's why I said
somebody
25
you
8.
love. And I mean, as a parent, as somebody that's you dealing with situation, and the child is dealing with situation. That's the thing
Right.
too, is that you
And
have
they
to
don't
go through the
realize how
best
much
interest
this
of the
this
child.
separation causes these children to, yes, be traumatized and basically develop some type of separation anxiety, abandonment issues, trauma altogether. It's just a bunch of things that therapists stay employed for, because without insanity, they would have no job.
And
So,
there is a need for help. I mean, there's children out there that sincerely need help, and that was one of the things that I questioned. We had 3 counties in this involved, so I'm saying all of this money that they spent for nothing could have been
right,
used to help somebody that actually needed some serious help. And I'm not telling anybody. My daughter wanted to go to school. Yes, we needed help with that, but I think they could have found a hell of a better way. Forgive me, God, for
right,
cursing, than doing all of the negative stuff that they did.
right.
Especially if
And
I
see
go to
that
you and ask you for help and you tell me you can't help me because go to
exactly.
school. And then
But
the
you don't
DA's
point me in
office
no
say,
direction to get to get any alternative help. You don't, try to give me referrals to even make the attempt to do the footwork for ourselves as parents. But you don't hesitate to separate the communication, separate our rights, violate our due process, violate laws, violate court orders, and you just violate, period. Anything and everything having to do with innocence is a violation on their part.
and then too, they doing a lot and on the flesh, but spirit as well, taking up the children's virtues and gifts out of things that people can't even see. And then when you
Right.
have an empty child and they around here acting out, it was
And
because
you
somebody
wonder
had to
why.
tell them. And then who gonna care because they're like you in the system. I remember back in the day,
Exactly.
they used to tell the children that goes in the group home, "Who cares about you? That's why they put you in here.
And see, that's
Just
the
bring
thing.
you
They make
there."
these children develop, complexes such as, nobody wants me. I'm nobody. Self esteem is low. or some of these like I was telling you when we were talking, I think it was last week, when I was like, it has been in New York City, there have been 46 illegal removals of children. 11 of those, parents, whether mother or father, have committed suicide. 6 of those have had psychotic breaks, and 2 of those were children that committed suicide from January until now. And this is what the commissioner of New York City thinks is okay: to sever these children, cause unnecessary mental anguish, psychological warfare, and overall impose mental labels or mental health impairments on these children or these parents by snatching the one thing that motivates us to stay on a structured path, to where if you have any negative, and like a negative little nibblers like coming up behind you, you want to stay clean or you want to stay sane. But if you are dealing with everything that could tear you from the reality that you're in because you can't believe these things are happening, and these are the things that I'm asking from an agency that is supposed to do these things for their job, and nobody does nothing. It goes in one ear and out the other, or they hear you, hold on to it, and miss the deadline, or they just dismiss you altogether and say, get the f out of here. So it's a
I
it's a
mean,
lose lose.
it's a lot that goes into my story, but I mean, in that same sense, I'm not, saying the negative things or whatever case may be, because
Right,
there's certain things you have to do what's in the best interest of your child as well as your family, but you can still get things said and still get things done, because
right.
right is right and wrong is wrong, but all in that same sense. I mean, there has to be a way that these people can be held accountable, and I don't mean putting nobody down, making nobody feel bad. I mean that if you're gonna do your job right, do
You
your
got
job the
these
way it's supposed
children. You
to be
got these
done.
children having low self-esteem, thinking we as parents don't want them, that we don't love them, that we don't want them to be with us, that we want people to come into our homes and snatch everything that they know from them in the blink of an eye, just because somebody said something.
You're right. And when it comes to a child's mind, and the thought is, what did I do wrong?
It's like
Why are
survival of
these
the
things
fittest.
happening to
Survival of
us?
the fittest. Yeah, that's it. They just in survival mode, and they're gonna be like that until either they return to you or until they get to a place that there's some type of comfort or familiarity. That's it.
And that's
It's
the other
it's
thing. When they do return to us, we have to be
fix
at a
that.
position to be able to deal with
Girl.
them on the level that they're on, and
Because
not
they
on the
need
level that
therapy
we
after
are.
that. They
When it,
definitely need therapy after that.
because I mean, in that sense, you're not getting back what was given. They say, you getting your child back, but it's not the same
It's not
child.
the same child. It
You
is
got to
a
make
lot
sure
of
that
work
you
that
are
needs to be done.
on point to be able to get that child from where that child is to where that child needs to be, and you need to be able to do that together. Not only with that child, but if you got other children or whatever, whatever. I mean, you got
A
to have
family dynamic,
something in
yeah.
place to make something, solid, be there for that child can be comfortable in that situation. And I mean, and not just for you look at it and say how they do good for some children, but they look at other ones and just like throw them away.
There's nothing to do. Yeah, you can't fix
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
just it doesn't make any sense because
And that
everybody got
hurts. That
somebody.
hurts that people can put innocence, bring innocence into the world, already not knowing what to expect day by day based on economics, demographics, society, and this damn government. So it's like, how much more trauma is a brand new, because I say anybody that's under 16 is brand new. Anybody that's from birth to 16, they're brand new in this world, super green. So how could they possibly be ripped from everything that's familiar, goes to some place that puts them in a comfortable uncomfortability, and still say these people are doing things out their best interest by snatching them and not providing the things that they should have to prevent that?
I asked one of the social workers one time, I asked her, I said, just imagine if you get older and these children that you are using and abusing become to be adults. They place you in a
Hmm.
nursing home and that child got to come and help you
Yes.
as your CNA, as that
Yep.
person that has to take care of you and give you something to drink, give you
Change you.
something to
Yep.
eat, change you, and
Yep.
then the child look, I know this name. Where I know this name from? You,
From
the lady, just
from
me from
disrespecting
mom.
me. Yep.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
the one that said all these things about me in court, but now I got the opportunity to do
And
unto you.
kids don't forget. They do not.
Right. And
Children do. That's one thing I will say, because as a child of trauma, children do not forget. They do not forget what was said. They do not forget who was there. They do not forget what happened in great detail. And see, a lot of times things like that cause mental illnesses to surface, such as multiple personalities, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic tendencies with, disillusions from reality. These are things that happen when children or young adults suppress trauma in a place where they thought they were safe.
that's right. And I said, just imagine if that child grows up with unforgiveness and bitterness in their heart,
Right.
but
And we
you
don't
want
know
somebody
why.
to forgive you. But just imagine that child setting that cup of water close enough to you, you can see it, but far enough away from you, you
But
can't
you
get
can't grab it. Yep.
it. That's right. How
So
you gonna
that's
feel?
torture right there.
How
That is
you
torture
gonna
right there.
feel?
Like,
Because
come
now
on.
the shoe is on the other foot where it is now, and you don't know what tomorrow may bring. Just because you good today don't mean you're
I
gonna be
mean, you
good
could.
tomorrow.
We are all
You
one
should treat that
paycheck away from
child.
being homeless. One
That's right.
paycheck
The
away from being
same way.
homeless. We know that.
Treat that child the same way you would want to be treated yourself, and keep that in mind. The next time you approach somebody's child to do something, think about it. Because that child that you mistreating may be that
They
very one
remember. Yep.
that has to help you.
Tattoo. Yep.
And
And see, the
you,
thing with that is, right now, like I said, my oldest child, my 12-year-old, she is furious with me, furious, and I understand. And she has every right to be, and I'm going to let her have that, because Ms. D, what can I say to that? What can I possibly say to just,
put it on.
dismiss the fact that
You want it on? Put it
I
on.
let somebody come in and take her again? And this will be the fourth time. But this is all because, again, my ex husband came and destroyed everything in 39 days, still continued to, impose harm or unhealthy situations by violating these safety orders that I put in place. And yet she's upset with me. I have no communication. She don't want any communication. But the person that initiated everything has communication and access with a full order protection in another state. That is not even biologically her parent. Not listed on the birth certificate. There's no parentage, no order of affiliation, no acknowledgement of paternity, and there is no surname parentage. So there is no legal claim to one, a child that is not biologically yours, who you inflicted harm on with physical force that left bruising, contusion, abrasions, and lacerations. But you also tell this same child, go find her real dad.
Ooh.
And then you didn't like the response that my daughter gave you with the, you're a guest here. You need to watch how things work. If you weren't in jail all the time, you'd know that. So, one, I can't really fault her for speaking her mind, because I always let my children speak their mind. I'm in a place where, children were seen and not heard. But if somebody, you know, I'm not saying it was right for her to say that, but you are a guest in her home and she's getting to know you. I gave you access as the mother, thinking, I was not well. I wanted them to still have familiarity. I did not want them to have to be uprooted from something that they know and that are comfortable with and that they know is safe, to uproot them anyway based on you being selfish because I didn't want a romantic relationship. So all of this is out of no intimacy. And then proceeded to tell my daughter, if you guys go to another foster home other than the one you're in right now, which is his fake aunt, sandbox aunt. If you go to another foster home beside that one, I will kill your mother. So at the
Whoa.
time my daughter was 9 years old, she said she was scared for me. I would be scared for me too, based on him, my ex-husband, evading the law. on a murder charge, you might want to just rethink that whole, yeah. But yeah, this is the person that ACS, CPS, and the foster care agency have given access to with no legal claim, full order protection, lives in a commonwealth, and that order is not subsequent to this jurisdiction. So it's how much disrespect am I supposed to take? But the person that inflicted all of this in 39 days can
Isn't that a
continue.
felony crime? I
Huh?
thought a felony you couldn't have custody of a child.
That,
I
yeah.
mean, what?
First of all, there is no parentage. Like I said, you don't even know if that's their dad. And you said I said that. I also said my kids have allergies. You ain't believe that?
So they haven't did a DNA test?
Negative. You know what they're going off of? Because the social worker asked me how was my ex-husband even involved in the case. I'm trying to find out how on the service logs they had in the connections notes there was an entry for February 9th at approximately 4:47 p.m., which was one day after we went to court and the children were remanded to the custody of the commissioner. So my ex-husband reached out, mind you, he's on the run, evading the law on a murder charge with 8 open warrants for violating the order of protection that we have.
Well, how he come into court and then not arrest him?
He never came to court physically, always via Zoom. And this is what I didn't understand either.
Oh.
How were you gallivanting through the United States when you're not even supposed to leave the state? So I'm a little confused. The reason why you had to get paroled from the Commonwealth where you were at to New York was because I wasn't coming up there to do any visits. And I'm not going nowhere. I don't care about a court order. I'm not going. But
Well, see
if
now.
you didn't get to come down here, you would have never seen the kids because you couldn't leave the state. So again, I humbled myself, bit the bullet about how I feel about that person, and did it out of the best interest of my children. And look what
That's
happened.
right.
It flipped around because CPS told me I allowed a murderer to come in my house.
So
But
what?
yet I allowed a murderer to come in my house. But they had to clear him for him to come to New York, period. On parole on an interstate compact. Yeah, like it's similar like the kids have, but it's like for criminals.
So what are they now allowing him to do? He's
Oh,
the same.
everything. Oh, he has visitation. He took his alleged daughter because they still have no DNA. And I told you about that on the flip side. So I just can't wait. I'm waiting for the jaws to drop. Because everybody keeps saying, her dad, her dad, her dad. Who's that? I never said that. I said my ex-husband. Never said her dad. Y'all assumed her dad because y'all just clearly told me when y'all put the paperwork in, the petition in that you wanted to nail and mail on my door, for TPR. Y'all are telling me there's no father listed on the birth certificate, but yet this child was born out of wedlock. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. And this is what I mean by you have the wrong information for the right reason, but the right information for the wrong reason. Because the allegations of impairment came in for them to remove my children February 1st of 2023. My children weren't removed until February 8th of 2023. So alleging that I was suicidal and off my meds. If that was the case, Ms. D, would my children have been in the first, the second, the third, or any other day after that? If I was that allegedly, if I was suicidal and wanted to strangle my kids from the first to the eighth,
Oh
they,
well.
they playing they playing with fire because if I was
People that
suicidal
come
allegedly on the
everywhere
exactly,
to leave
that don't
them
even sound. That don't even sound.
there.
Thank you. That don't even sound right.
And I mean, even with mine, I never knew why they was removing her.
Thank you. But there's like 4 different reports in. They kept telling me that I have a mental health diagnosis, but I don't receive services. How do you know? Because if you read any of the connection notes from the previous 3 cases, it would say that I am. That's how I know nobody does no work. Because I clearly, based on my bar license, I can actually get that access too. So it's a little insulting that when I'm telling them look at page 13, you know, the entry notes that they wrote.
Well, they're
And
trying to figure out how you got page 13.
but that's what I'm saying. If I'm telling you I got page 13, for you to look on page 13 because those are your notes that you put in and fail to put those notes into discovery. And I'm gonna leave you with that.
Well, and that's their negativity. So that's
Ex-
why this system needs complete reform. The system
Exactly.
needs to be revamped, and things need to be put in place that's going to be really in the best interest of the families and the children and the families. Because I
Well, I
mean,
believe
you can't
this, Miss
fix
D.
one
If
without
these
dealing
kids,
with others.
that's true too. But I believe, with New York situation, have you watched the news with all the corruption going on with the mayor and and the commissioner? There's a lot going on in here. It's a lot of corruption being investigated amongst the legislative people in our in our state.
That's in a lot of places. I should sit in meetings with electric cities and
Right.
all of those with the city council people. And I found it funny because when they had the meetings with electric cities, where all the
They closed them to the
city
public.
council stuff came, they would set up and delegate money. And I
Right.
was there trying to delegate for the people that was in my area that needed assistance with their utilities. They say they have no money. Told the city council person they ain't have money for that. But then they had another person that was there that
No.
wanted 25,000 to do nothing with. They gave it to him.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm
That
like,
and
where
that's what
he
I'm
get
talking
money
about.
from? And the people that need
Frivolous
help can't get
spending.
no help. So I mean,
Right.
uh-uh. I like y'all would have me in hell. I'm not going. Bye. I'm not going to hell wholesale. I'm gonna take a first class ticket. Because y'all gonna sit here and tell me that I'm gonna go back and not tell other people that y'all sitting around here getting this man $25,000 to do nothing with, and people over here
Exactly.
can't afford to pay the highlight bills, and you ain't giving them no help and talking about you ain't got no money. You lying the door. I'm gonna tell it out.
But you know what? You know what I just found out? I literally found out on a Sunday yesterday that for every special needs child that is put into foster care and exceeds the ASPA, the timeline, the 15 out of 22 concurrent months, consecutive
Mhm.
months for a child. If a child that has special needs, whether it be cognitive, physical, learning delay, or any other, emotional, illness outlined that could, hinder the child's progress either in school or in life, they get an extra $5,000 a month in New York City.
My God, Jesus.
Extra, and if it's kinship, they get an extra 2,000 on top of that five. So
My
it's
God.
$7,000 a month. Like that is insane.
It is. And they actually should be able to reveal that out in public.
True, they
They
be
should be
selling kids on the
public.
black market. This is like buying organs.
You're
You
right.
gotta, you gotta be kidding me. This is like the dark web of it all.
You're
And
right.
according
I
to
told you.
according to Miss Georgette, there was something. There's a lot of things on the dark web that you can find with children being trafficked.
Oh, it
So
is.
it's.
It is.
I only got like maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. We take good, Miss
Girl.
Dorothy. Sure, sure. I know that's right. But is there anything else you would like to tell, our viewers, our parents, our anyone that needs to hear this message? Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Only thing I would say is that I know that back in slavery days, people that black children was property, and even before then, they hadn't put in place the rights for children, like special education. They use animal rights to do
Right.
that.
District
But then
75,
they
yep.
were still, once it came so that they could add the African American colored children, whatever you want to call them, then that's when they
Right.
said they wanted to separate the families. Before, with the welfare system, they allowed the man to stay in the house. So after they added the
Right.
black African Americans, they decided the man can no longer be in the household.
In house, yep.
So this is manipulation and control. They're getting what
Well,
they
they
need.
only want to do that as far as population. They want to keep our demographic, confined based on us overpopulating, so they say. Because, in the 80s, anybody that was getting ready to get cut off of social service, they had another baby in order to stay on. So it was the between the 80s and the 90s. That was the new thing. Every time you get ready to get cut off, you do a research, you have another baby.
But that's right. But as a property, you had no rights because they
That's
was
true.
using you to buy, sell, trade, whatever they want to get.
Yep. Or
Your
barter. Yep.
child or
You're
you
right.
was used as property, as what you call it, to go to the bank or whatever. I give you this birth certificate for a certain amount of money
Amount
to
of
buy
money.
this
Yep.
house about it.
And I
Right.
own this
So
child
you
now.
was
Yep.
actually selling. It didn't just
Property.
start here. That's what I'm saying.
Nope.
It's always been
It's
in place,
been
but they're getting a different
yes.
way.
It's been going on for years. And
Right. And it's
anything that
changing the
has
norm.
melanin, anything with melanin seems to be has a price on its head. But let society tell it we are not worth anything because we are not priceless. And I'm gonna leave that where it's at. So I want to thank Miss Dorothy, our birthday girl. for coming on and sharing her story. And again, get an attorney, reach out to the law offices of Vincent Davis. There's somebody there 24/7 to answer your call. And I just want to let y'all parents know, never stop fighting. Innocence is worth it. It is worth it every time. So again, this is Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Y'all have a blessed night.
You do the
Grace.
same. God bless.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left. Put your faith in